This fish costume I made came out amazing. Anyone can make costumes like this, and I'm going to show you how I did it right now. Okay, really quick, here is how I made this fish costume. The body is a pizza box that I cut up into strips and then held together with a layer of paper-mâché before I painted it. The eyes are LED pucks, which have this little remote control so I can change them to whatever color I want. The mouthpiece is the model that was on the dentist desk to teach everyone how to clean their teeth. And the fins up top and in the back and the flippers here are pool noodles, except skinny ones that they sell for arts and crafts. And then the whole thing I went and mounted onto a backpack with a coat hanger frame so I could be more comfortable wearing this all day long. It really wasn't that hard. If you want to make a costume like this, you can, and I'm going to show you how. So we'll break it down step by step right now. Let's make a costume. To begin, get the model from the dentist's office. This is on Amazon, so is a hard hat. These are zip ties. And all we're going to do is zip tie these two together. It's super easy. I just put some holes through the plastic hard hat, fished it through the back. Zip ties are super easy. Once you get this up here nice and snug, that's it. Step one is complete. And now we can move on to the next part of our costume. This is how we're going to attach our costume to the backpack. Coat hangers are just the perfect thickness of metal. We're just going to straighten it out, and all we want is this piece of metal. Get 4 of these. Bend it in half and just make a loop in the middle. You're going to have to do this around a screwdriver or another piece of metal. It's just a little too thick to do it by hand. Once you get it twisted up, use a pair of pliers and just kind of clean up the hole a little bit. And all we want is a loop in the middle, just like that. After that, I drilled some holes in the rim of the hard hat and I just fished it through the holes. And then we're going to slide it down. This is a 3/4 inch bolt and nut. You can get a pack of 4 at Walmart for $1. And all we're doing is attaching the coat hanger to the hard hat so we can mount to our backpack later on. Once you have it up there nice and good, it's time to move on to the next step. Right now I'm just bending these out of the way so I can put this on my tabletop mannequin head. So working on the rest of the costume is easier. We'll get back to this in a minute. Now that we have that up there, let's go ahead and clean up these zip ties. And that's it. Off to the next step. I put some double-sided tape on the bottom of these water bottles, and I'm sticking them up there. You can't make a house out of drywall. We need lumber in the walls. So you got to find something to fill the void. Water bottles work perfect. After that, I went ahead and cut up a pizza box into some strips. And I'm just going to go ahead and use Gorilla Tape and just get these up here. I made a couple more strips, and it's just one piece of cardboard, one piece of tape at a time. Now I've got the spine down the top, and I'm just taping it on. Now you can see what the water bottles do. We need something to fill the void. You don't want to use polyfill. It's deceivingly heavy, and if it gets wet, you're not going to be happy. Water bottles are perfect, so that's what I went ahead and used. Once you have this all taped up here, it's off to the next step. Now we just need to fill in all the empty spaces with little pieces of cardboard. Little pieces of cardboard are easy to make curves with. The bigger the piece, the harder the curve. See the lines in the cardboard? Go with those. If you go with the lines, it bends easy. If you go against the lines, it's going to break. Adjust it as you need to do and get it up there. And then once it's up there, that's it. We're just going to keep doing this until the whole thing is filled in. Now you can see I've made a little progress. I've added a few more pieces. I added a mouthpiece. I kind of made a tail. And then once you get them up there, we're just going to go ahead and cover them with a piece of Gorilla Tape. Keep doing this. I'm just working little pieces in, covering all the empty spaces. It doesn't have to be perfect, but we need something for the tape to attach to. We have to make a little bit of a structure. Once I've got that done, it's off to the next step. Just like the water bottle, this is a pool noodle, and it does the same thing. It gives us a backing that we can bend a piece of cardboard around. So now that I've got this pool noodle up here, I'm just going to go ahead and fashion some cardboard over it, and then this way, my tail's going to have some curves in it instead of being flat. Keep going and cover the pool noodle. And now you can see here when it's on its side, I used 2 pieces of pool noodle and 1 red Solo cup to fill the void. These materials are perfect because they're lightweight, inexpensive, and waterproof. Now it's off to the next step. These are 5/8 inch pool noodles that they sell on Amazon for arts and crafts. We're going to cut these into some pieces, and these are flour wire. We're going to fashion these pieces into the fins. In order to do that, we need to get some wire down the middle of each pool noodle. That way we can bend it into any shape we want. You don't have to get it all the way down the noodle. Halfway enough is plenty good for you to be able to bend it later on. Just like that. Then we're going to go ahead and clean it up, but make sure you leave a little bit on the end. This is a hand drill, $7 on Amazon. You guessed it. So now that I have this pool noodle up in here, I'm just seeing if I like the shape of this and the design of this before I continue. I have 2 of them up there on the back fin, and I'm really liking the way this looks, so we're going to continue on. Go get some paperboard out of the recycle bin. Cut it into some little pieces, and this we're going to use to finish all the little spaces that we didn't fill in with cardboard. These are a lot easier to work with to make curves. So I'm just going to go ahead and fill in the void in between the pool noodle. And you can see here, I just worked my way down, but now that space is filled in. Now it's off to the next step. I used some more of the paperboard on the chin, and I'm just going to fashion this box up here, tape it into place, and then it's off to the next step. Paper-mâché. We need Elmer's glue, and you're going to use a bunch. Just get the bottle and dump it on out. We need a bunch of scraps of newspaper and 1 tub of glue. If you've never done this before, it's really easy. All you need to do is get Elmer's glue on each side of the newspaper and just fashion it on up there. Tear the newspaper, don't cut it. The more random it is, the better it's going to work. And we just want to cover this whole thing with 1 nice layer of paper-mâché. That way we're getting rid of all the Gorilla Tape and all the cardboard. Make sure you use Gorilla Tape and not duct tape. Gorilla Tape is way better and it won't come off. If you use duct tape, it's going to peel off and you're not going to be happy. 1 layer of paper-mâché, and you can see it's solid as could be. We have 1 nice shell of a fish, so now it's the next step. We need to paint our background color real quick. So I'm just go ahead and put some black paint up here. Nothing fancy. I'm rubbing this on with a paper towel. If you're not good at painting, that makes 2 of us. It doesn't have to be perfect. Just get it up there. This is the space that's going to be behind the fish scales that we're going to put on later. So once we get this all done, we're good to go, and then it's off to the next step. Now we need to make some more pool noodles for the top fins and the down fins that I'm doing with red. Just like before, get the flour wire about halfway up the noodle. And we're going to need a bunch of these, so you might as well make a pile. Then we're going to clean it up, and we're just going to make some holes with our hand drill and put them up there with quick and thick glue. This is basically the same stuff as Elmer's, except it's thick, so it's really easy to work with. A bunch of brands make this glue. It doesn't matter what you use. Just get the thick stuff so it doesn't run. And you can see, I'm just running down the line here, making a little mohawk, and it's already looking really cool. I'm loving the way this is going, so we're just going to keep this up, put as many up as you want to, And now it's time for us to work on the coolest part of the entire costume and the highlight of the whole thing, which is LED eyes. Everybody loves these because they're just cool as could be. These are some LED pucks that I got. And look how cool this is. We're just going to go ahead and get these up there for the eyes. That way we can have a little special effect to our costume. In order to do this, I just taped them up there with some blue painter's tape, and now I'm going to trace them out and put them into place. We could just glue them up there or tape them up there, but we run the risk that one of them could fall out, and we don't want that to happen. So the way to get them up there is just to cut these out and then squeeze them on in. If you're not used to working with box cutters, the box cutter is undefeated. Your finger will lose, so you don't have to push very hard. I'm just scraping this off a little bit at a time, not pressing too hard. Don't saw it, just lightly cut it out. Don't say I didn't warn you. Now that this is out, we can go ahead and squeeze this puck in here. And this is a much better way to mount this up here because it's not going to fall off. And it's a little deeper in, which looks more natural. Now that that's good to go, I just want to make sure it doesn't fall off. So I'm going to use a thick glue and just put one little rim around the edge because why not? Don't glue over the on-off switch or the rechargeable port. And make sure you get rechargeable ones and not ones with batteries. That's it. Off to the next step. This is some red paint, and I'm just going to do the nose with this. Again, I'm no painter. I'm just doing this with a paper towel. I've learned to embrace the abstract. Don't be intimidated by it. You can always change it later. I'm finishing up some work on the chin. I'm really liking how this is working out. So once you're happy with where it's at, we're going to call it, and now it's off to the next step. You know how we make these. So just get a pile of the blue ones, and this is the back fin. This is our little hand drill. So we're just going to put some holes in where we want these to go. A little bit of quick and thick glue. Trim them up, and in they go. Once we get those all up, it's off to the next step. I'm doing a little touch-up work with the red paint. I wanted to put some painter's tape over the teeth and the eyes so I don't get any paint on those. So now I'm just finishing up this little piece with my paper towel. All right, now we're going to work on the fish scales. In order to do that, the easiest way is to make a stamp. So this blue is the color that I'm going to do the scales in, and this sponge here is the stamp that we're just going to stamp it on with. We just want to go ahead and get this nice and covered with paint, and then take a practice shot and make sure you like what you're working with. That looks great. We're going with that. In order to make that sponge, all I did was trace out a can, and then trace that out again. And that's it. Then just cut this out with some scissors. There's no right or wrong, but whatever you make, it's going to be the same size. I'm not much of a painter, but I can press things off. And that's exactly what I'm doing right here. You can see I'm just pressing the scales on one by one, and it's looking great. The sponge gives it a nice wet look. I'm really liking how this is coming out. And you can see once it's all done, it looks fantastic. I'm loving this paint job. So now we're going to work on these coat hangers and attaching this to our backpack. The beauty of using coat hangers is that we can bend these and adjust them wherever we want. If you were to mount this with a wooden dowel, you wouldn't be able to adjust it at all. You'd be stuck where it is. Coat hangers are the way to go. Get one more. And you can see where this is going. We're going to attach the two that we already put on the one side to this one coat hanger right here. And And now we have this cool little brace that fits on our shoulders that we can make for free and we can adjust whenever we want. Once you get a couple pieces of tape up there, now you need to stop and try things on. The reason I have this much movement is because I adjust it before I fully get it into place. So when you're happy with where it's at, then tape it all the way up. Now that I've got it all the way taped up, I'm just going to go ahead and cover this up with some red because we're going to put the pool noodles down here, and I don't want to see the coat hanger frame that we mounted this on. We just want to see the noodles. It's pretty easy to plop this on a backpack later on. We can bend it to fit however we want. But you don't need a backpack if you don't want to. You could just pad this up and put it on your shoulders. Once I tried it on, I noticed I needed to pad the front, so I put a little pool noodle in here. That way, it's not bonking into my forehead. The frame's good to go, and it's off to the next step. I'm loving how this is looking. I went ahead and made all the down fin noodles, and you can see this is looking fantastic. We're in this, but we're not stuck in this. My head is completely free. The hard hat is sitting a couple inches above my head. It's not on my head. We're just using it to build with. Now it's time for glitter. This is a holographic chunky blue. I'm going to put the blue on the red, and then I got some red glitter that I'm also going to put on the blue ones. The contrast came out perfect. To get this up here, all I did was dump some of the glitter in my mixing bowl and add some glue. Make a little porridge, and I'm just putting it up here with this little dabber. It's totally random, but it came out great. I forgot to do these side fins, so I went ahead and made a few more pool noodles real quick and got those in, and now we're done with all the noodles, and I'm loving how this is looking. The glitter came out great. I went ahead and painted the helmet black so we can't see any of that. And I made the down noodles, and I covered those with some blue glitter as well, just to give it the accent. Now we're going to do the same thing on the blue noodles, except with red glitter. I've just got this on my glove. And it's important that you use construction adhesive when you're working with the foam noodles. Anything that's flexible needs construction adhesive because construction adhesive is also flexible. Get the Gorilla Tape clear adhesive, it works great. The last part I want to do is put a little red on these side fins, and we are good to go. All done. Another home run. I'm loving how this came out. Thanks for watching, everybody. I hope you learned something. I'll see you out there, and I can't wait to see your costume. Be safe, everybody.